5 minutes a day, the secret to helping seniors stay fit and live joyfully. Introduction. Welcome to Elderly Voices, a place where every story is a celebration of wisdom and hope. I'm Dr. Eric Bergman, and I'm delighted to have you here with me today. In our time together, I'd like to explore a simple but powerful idea, the belief that just 5 minutes a day can help seniors stay fit and live joyfully. It might sound unbelievable, but stick with me. We're about to dive into a story that shows how a tiny daily habit can spark incredible changes. Why do so many give up on themselves as they grow older? Perhaps you've asked yourself this question or watched a loved one lose their spark over the years. As a physician who has worked with older adults, I've seen it happen too often. Many seniors feel their best days are behind them, that it's just too late to get healthier or happier. They might say, "What difference can a few minutes make now?" But today I want to challenge those thoughts. Can 5 minutes really change your life? You might be skeptical, and that's okay. Let's explore that question together through a real, heartfelt story. The story of John. I first met John on a cloudy Tuesday afternoon. He was a 78-year-old retired teacher, and his eyes were downcast. That day, he shuffled into my clinic with a cane, each step looking like a small struggle. Life had not been easy for John in recent years. He had lost his wife, Margaret, 3 years earlier, and now lived alone. His children were grown and scattered across the country, so John often spent his days in solitude. Over time, grief and loneliness weighed on him heavily. He had stopped taking the walks he once enjoyed with Margaret. His joints ached from arthritis, and he had become so afraid of falling that he barely moved around anymore. As we talked, it became clear that John wasn't sleeping well, hardly left the house, and felt too drained to see friends or pursue any hobbies. With a sad smile, he admitted, "I just don't see much point anymore, Doc. I'm old, maybe too old to get better." Here was a man who had given so much to others as a teacher, now feeling like there was nothing left to hope for. I decided to try something simple, yet hopeful. I leaned forward, looked John in the eyes and said, "John, I understand how you feel, but would you be willing to try a little experiment with me?" He raised an eyebrow, a flicker of curiosity in his tired eyes. "What kind of experiment?" he asked quietly. "Just a small one," I replied gently. "I'd like you to start a new habit. Spend 5 minutes a day doing some gentle exercise. It could be a short walk to your mailbox and back, or maybe marching in place during a TV commercial. Break whatever feels comfortable for you. 5 minutes, that's all." John looked at me as if I might be a little crazy. 5 minutes? Do you really think that will do anything for me? It was a fair question. At his age and in his condition, what could a mere 5 minutes accomplish? But I believed in the power of small steps. I nodded and said, "I do. It's a start. Something is better than nothing, and 5 minutes every day might start to wake up your muscles, get your blood flowing, and even lift your mood a bit. If you feel good and want to do more, you can, but all I'm asking for is 5 minutes each day. Think of it as a little gift to yourself." He sighed and glanced at the rain tapping against the window. Finally, he gave a reluctant nod. "All right, Doc. I'll give it a try. 5 minutes a day, I suppose I can manage that." There was doubt in his voice, but also the faintest hint of hope. I smiled. "That's all I asked, John. Let's do this for 1 month. Every day 5 minutes. You can choose what to do. A short walk, some gentle stretches, maybe even a bit of dancing to a song on the radio. Anything as long as you are moving. And if you can, jot down a note each day about how you feel afterward. Then we'll meet again and see how it's going." Deal. He managed a small smile, the first I'd seen from him that day. Deal, he agreed. That was the beginning John went home that afternoon with a very modest mission. Still, he was doubtful. He admitted later that on that first evening, he almost skipped it. He sat in his silent living room after dinner, looking at Margaret's empty armchair and feeling the familiar ache of loneliness. The last thing he wanted to do was exercise. Maybe tomorrow, he thought. He nearly let the day slip away. But then he remembered our conversation and the promise he'd made. Just 5 minutes, he told himself. I can try. John slowly pushed himself up from his armchair. Outside, the rain had stopped and the evening sky was clearing. He decided to walk to his mailbox at the end of the driveway, only about 2 minutes away. He put on his jacket, grabbed his cane, and stepped outside. The air was cool and fresh after the rain. Each step was deliberate and a bit painful at first. His knees complained and his back felt stiff, but he kept going, shuffling forward just to the mailbox. He repeated in his mind. Before he knew it, he reached the mailbox. There was no mail, but he rested his hand on the post and caught his breath. A small spark of accomplishment warmed him. He had done it. The walk back to his house felt slightly easier when he finally closed his front door. John was breathing a little hard, but he actually smiled to himself for the first time in a long while. He felt proud that night. He slept just a bit better than usual. Encouraged by that tiny victory, John continued the next day. He set a kitchen timer for 5 minutes and marched in place while listening to one of Margaret's favorite songs on the radio. It felt a bit silly at first, but by the end, he was humming along to the melody. When the timer rang, he was a little out of breath, but there it was again, that spark of accomplishment. Not bad, he thought. Maybe I can do this. Day by day, John kept at it. If the weather was nice, he'd walk outside a little farther, maybe a little farther down the street. But if it was raining or he was feeling low, he would march in place or do some gentle stretches inside. There were days he almost talked himself out of it, but then he would remember our deal and push through those 5 minutes. Even on the toughest days, he did what he could, sometimes just light stretches in a chair. A month later, John came back to my office for our follow-up. I could see the change in him the moment he walked in. He moved with more confidence. He even greeted me with a firm handshake and a warm hello. I kept my promise, he said proudly as he sat down. John was eager to share his experience. Within the first week, he reported, he had started sleeping through the night more often. He felt a bit more energetic in the mornings, even looking forward to his little exercise time. Each day he left, as he told me how his daughter had called and noticed the difference in his voice. She had jokingly asked, "Who are you, and what have you done with my dad?" He never imagined that such a small change could make him feel so good. Listening to him, I felt my heart swell with joy. His blood pressure was a bit better and he lost a couple of pounds, but more importantly, that defeated look he once had was gone. Here was a man rejuvenated and engaged with life again. Before he left, John shyly asked if it was okay for him to do a bit more than 5 minutes, maybe even join an exercise class at the community center. I told him with a grin that, of course, he could. 5 minutes was just the start, and if he felt up to more, he should go for it. I also made sure he knew how proud I was of him. He left my office that day with a spring in his step, both figuratively and literally. In the following months, John kept up his routine and then some. He joined a gentle yoga class for seniors at the community center and continued his daily walks. He even began tending a small vegetable garden each morning, using that as a pleasant way to warm up and start the day. His world was no longer confined to an armchair. It was expanding with new activities, new friends, and new hope. Not long after, I received a letter from John that brought tears to my eyes. He wrote that he had attended his granddaughter's wedding and even danced with her for a few minutes at the reception. He said that moment on the dance floor made him feel truly alive again. Here was a man who once thought his life was nearly over, now out on the dance floor celebrating with family, all because he dared to give 5 minutes a day a try. Conclusion: what can we learn from John's journey? It's simple. It's never too late to start. We all have 5 minutes to spare in our day, and investing those few minutes in our well-being can pay off in ways we might not expect. Maybe you're not sure how to begin. That's okay. The beauty of a 5-minute habit is that it can be anything that gets you moving or brings you a bit of joy. It could be a brief walk down the street, a light stretch routine dancing to a favorite song, or even watering a little garden. The key is consistency and giving yourself that daily gift of movement. Remember, life is made up of moments. 5 minutes might seem small, but it can be the pebble that starts a ripple of positive change through your body and mind. If you or someone you love is feeling stuck, I encourage you to try this gentle approach. Start with today. Give yourself those 5 minutes to do something kind for your body. And tomorrow, do it again. You might find, as John did, that those 5 minutes become the highlight of your day, something you truly look forward to. And if one day you feel like doing more, you'll be ready for it. Or maybe 5 minutes is all you do, and that's perfectly fine too. It's not about pushing yourself to the limit. It's about finding a sustainable, enjoyable rhythm that keeps you connected to life. John's journey showed that even a little effort can spark big changes. As we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. You are not done yet. There are still dances to dance, walks to take, and laughs to share, no matter your age. All it takes is that first small step. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions or inspiring stories, please comment below so I and everyone else can learn from you.